Welcome traders to the daily breakdown. Let's get straight on into the pairs and have a look at what price action may be showing us and where we may be able to catch a trading opportunity today. So starting off with EURUSD on the 4-hour time frame, what we can see is that we are still at the bottom here of this current demand zone. You can see that we've had this break of structure, and now we're in a very sideways consolidation. What we want to expect is that price action may look to pull back up into this area of supply just in here, and if this happens, then of course we could look for some kind of reaction and confirmation in this area. Now, seeing as we are yet to actually break through this demand zone, and it is still technically valid, what we do need to watch is the kind of reaction that we get to this zone. Because of course, if price action wants to come all the way back up and break through this area of supply, that is absolutely fine. And it is showing us that this demand zone is still valid and that is still holding price. If this is the case, then what we can expect is that price action will push up and then it will pull back into newly formed demand. And then we may actually start a bullish trend again. If I drop down now to the 1-hour time frame, we can just have a look at what's actually happening in price. If we drop down, you can see this consolidation in a little bit more detail. Of course, we get this refined area as well on this supply zone, and again, of course, we can expect price to run above these equal highs just in here. And if this does happen, then of course, we can look for those confirmations in areas such as this. Now, if we just remove these drawings in here and then we head on over to here and we activate the TradeDork SMC Indicator, first of all, what we can see is that it's identified this supply zone up in here, which is great on the 1-hour time frame. So this means it's giving us a more refined area of interest. Now, if I move on over and have a look at the multi-time frame grid, you can also see that the majority of time frames are currently bearish. I mean, one of them is currently bullish. But of course, that does not mean anything. The majority is clearly bearish. So we need to be aware that price may look to continue this move lower. But of course, we can't confirm that until we see the breakout completely of this area of demand on the higher time frames. Now that brings us to the end of the analysis for EURUSD, and now let's have a look at the next pair. Okay, now having a look at Pound USD starting off on the 1-hour time frame, you can see that of course we have been extremely bearish, and price action has been moving lower and lower, creating new structures along the way. Now again, in here, you can see that we have had another break of structure, and of course we have left behind an area of supply to potentially trade out of. Now what we can wait for is some kind of confirmation out of this zone. So for example, if we get something like this, then of course we could look for trading opportunities and trade towards the next targets. Now the next targets are either this low point just in here, which is a 4-hour swing low, and then lower than that we do have daily inefficiency, which is also another area of potential interest to target. Now, of course, if I do activate our indicator, I can head up over to here and turn this on. What it's showing us is, of course, this BOS just in here, and of course, we do have this area of supply up here where there is the inefficiency. Now, this is showing us that price action may want to move a little bit higher, which is absolutely fine, and if that is the case, then what might happen is we may get some kind of redistribution, or we push up, we get one change of character, but then we just simply react to the supply, and then we continue moving lower. You can see, of course, on the multi-time frame grid that all time frames are currently bearish. So the overall sentiment is to be trading short, and it's just about finding those good strong areas of supply backed up by those areas of liquidity to give us good confirmation that we're in the right areas to take those trades. Now that brings us to the end of the analysis for this pair. So let's have a look now at the next one. Okay, so looking at USDJPY now starting off on the 1-hour time frame, what we can see is that we had this strong reaction to this area of 4-hour demand. And then what's happened is we've had a change of character. We've pulled back. And now this morning, we've just had another break of structure, and of course, we have broken through this high point as expected. Now that we've broken through this high point as expected, we need to understand that either price action is going to continue to push up here now, and if we get some kind of strong breakout and some clear areas of demand, then that is going to be great, and we can use that to trade higher, continuing this high time frame bullish momentum towards the higher time frame highs. Now, as well as this, because price is quite consolidating in here, if we do start to break lower, then that's also fine. But we want to make sure we have confirmed structure on those lower time frames, and then of course we could look to trade some kind of supply zone like this, coming back down looking for those deeper reaccumulations in price. If we drop down now to the 15-minute time frame, we can have a look at this in a little bit more detail. You can see right now we're currently reacting to this demand zone just in here. So just want to mark this one in. So really what we're going to be looking for is some kind of strong breakdown, something like this, and then we may be looking for those confirmations lower. Or what's going to happen is price is going to hold this demand zone in here, and we're going to just push straight up from this area in here. So if we're going to be looking for trading opportunities, I would at least wait for one more strong break above, and then look for those continuations higher. Now, if I delete this analysis just in here, and I activate the indicator up in this corner, what we can now see are some different analysis on the screen. We can see, first of all, we've got this change of character just in here, and this break of structure. We then also had this area of demand where we saw the reaction, which then pushed price higher. Now we have a look on the multi-time frame grid. You can see that there is clearly a bullish trend across all time frames. So the bias is clearly just to keep buying right now. There's no indication that the price has stalled or that price is ready to reverse. We just want to look for those confirmations in price and trade the footprints of what the market is actually showing us. So that brings us to the end of the analysis on this pair. And now let's have a look at the next one. So if we have a look now at US30, starting off on the 1-hour time frame, what we can see here is that we have just broken through this high time frame area of liquidity just in here. Now because we've done that, we've then tapped into this daily area of demand. Now we do have these more refined zones down here are the extreme, which I would like to target. So right now we could continue just to be trading this bearish trend. Now the last break of structure we had was in this area just in here, and price did react to this area of supply, and then tried to move lower. We're now slowly correctively moving back up into this zone again. So now we need to look at whether price is going to hold this zone, and then we are going to be continuing lower into these refined areas of demand, or whether price action actually wants to redistribute right now. If that is the case, then what price might do is break through these areas of supply, and then we may look for some other areas to hold a little bit higher up, for example, at the fill of the inefficiency in this area, just in here. So I'm going to just mark this in as well. So we do have a couple of options on the cards. We just want to see how price action actually develops and plays out. Now, if I drop down to the 15-minute time frame, what we can see here is price action. And a little bit more detail, you can see that we do have these areas of inefficiency just in here to be filled. Now that is absolutely fine. Price action may just want to come up, fill these areas of inefficiency, and then give us some kind of confirmation that we are ready to move lower. That's absolutely fine, and we could be looking to trade things such as that. Just make sure, of course, you do have sufficient liquidity that can be swept before looking to get involved in any trades, because we understand that price action could be looking to redistribute, so we don't want to get caught out in the fact that this may actually be the liquidity for a higher trade idea. Now, if I go back up to the 1-hour time frame now and we just delete this in here, what we can then do is we can turn on the indicator and have a look what it is showing us. Now here you can see that this is marked as equal highs right now, which means that we may actually do what we said and break a little bit higher. Now they have actually marked out some supply zones a little bit higher than we anticipated, because they're using this current larger range is absolutely fine. And if, for example, price action was to come up that high, then we could be looking for something such as this. Now, if we have a look over here at the multi-time frame grid, you can also see that it's only the 15-minute time frame that is bullish. All the other time frames are currently bearish, which is a good indication that price action is going to be moving a little bit lower. Now we want to be looking for those sell-offs, and then look for price action to move down potentially into these refined areas of demand at about the 33,720 level to around the 33,640 level. Now that brings us to the end of the analysis for US30. And now let's have a look at the next pair. So if we have a look at gold now, starting off on the 1-hour time frame, all we can see is that price action is trying to move bearish. We've had this chooch in here, and then we've had another break of structure just in here. Now ever since then, we then had this tap into this supply zone just in this area in here, and then we are now starting this bearish move lower. Now what I would be expecting is price action to continue moving lower now, reacting out of areas of supply. Targeting this low point just in here, the overall idea is a higher time frame one that we're going to be looking to target this low point just in here to realign with the higher time frames. But short term, I would be looking for these kind of trading opportunities. Now if I drop it down to the 15-minute time frame now, we can try and understand what's actually been going on here. You can see that we had this higher time frame liquidity sweep just in here. And then what it did is it caused us to have some kind of reaction and test of the supply, where we then started to move lower. Now, of course, price action has been breaking structures on the way down. You could look at this lower time frame structure, break in here, and then identify that there may be areas of supply, such as in areas like this, where we could then look for trading potential opportunities. Now, I would be waiting for good confirmation, as these are just lower time frame areas of supply. And of course, at any point, price action may want to redistribute. And if that is the case, that is absolutely fine. We just need to make sure we are waiting for the correct confirmation before looking to trade short. Now, if I put on the indicator, we go up to here and turn on the TradeDork indicator. What you can see first of all is that we are just coming into now some counter-trend areas of demand, which is absolutely fine, meaning that we may get some kind of short-term move back higher. Now up here you can see that we do have some areas of supply. The first one has been mitigated, but there is this other area just slightly higher that we may use to actually trade short. Over here on the multi-time frame grid, you can see we do have a slight mixed bias with some bearish and bullish indications. So because we haven't got a complete bearish trend, we do want to make sure that we are trading clear confirmations in price. But the overall idea would be to potentially look for some short-term moves up and then trade the sells back down, targeting these low points at around 1913. That brings us to the end of the analysis for US30. And now let's have a look at the final pair. So looking at Bitcoin USD starting off now on the 4-hour time frame, what we can see is that we did have a clean reaction to this area of supply up in here. We filled all of this inefficiency, we came up, and then we started this move back lower. Now initially when price did this, I thought we were going to see some kind of reaccumulation. I thought that we were going to have a change of character underneath here, which we did. And then I thought we were going to see some kind of reaction to the demand, and then we may have moved higher. Now it's absolutely fine that we haven't done that yet. It's not a big deal, because now what we can do is look and adapt to how price is actually forming. Now we can see, if we drop down to the 1-hour time frame, what we can see is that we've had, first of all, this change of character just in here to the downside. We then had this much larger consolidation, and then we have now just broken down lower. So we've broken through this area of demand, so we can actually delete this one and we can look at what is actually going to happen next. Now there is one area of demand of interest just in here. We do have some imbalance just in here, so we could look to fill that and then potentially see some kind of reaction. So this could be an option on the cards to actually see a move back higher. Now apart from that, what we can actually do is look for maybe some short-term selling, because of course we may look to come a little bit deeper now, and we may be looking to test the more extreme areas of demand, such as price action in this area, just in here. So this is going to remain on the cards as an area of higher time frame demand, and short term, what I would be doing is looking for some kind of potential selling opportunities until we really come into these demand zones and look to reject. Now, if we were going to look to sell, obviously, I would like for price to come up back into this range. We may look to react out something such as this. I'm just going to identify this as a 1-hour area of supply, and this can be where we can look for potential opportunities to sell from. Now, if I activate the TradeDork indicator, I'm just going to delete this analysis, come up to this corner, and then turn this on. Now we have a look at this on the 1-hour time frame. What can we actually see? Well, of course, we do have this area of supply up in here, which means that this is a potential area that we could sell from, as well as this. We do have these areas of demand just identified in here, which is exactly where I said the price might want to come down to, first of all, before then moving back higher. Now we have a look at the multi-time frame grid. You can see that overall we're clearly bearish. So this is an indication that price may want to keep moving lower right now, and we don't want to be fixated on the long positions just yet until we are really seeing that price is ready to reverse and move back higher. So that brings us to the end of the analysis for Bitcoin USD and the end of the analysis for the day. Hope you guys now have a better understanding of what price action may be doing on these pairs, and remember, of course, to stay vigilant, stay on ball, and be ready to take any trading opportunities that are presented to you that align with your trading plans. Now, I hope you have a great trading day, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. So remember to protect your capital at all times, and have a great day in the markets.
Be a dork.